ladies and gentlemen, to the 16th episode of Post TAP. It is I, your one and only host, JoshAgeddon, here for the 16th episode. Got some things going on that I do want to talk about. Namely, I went to a Marilyn Manson concert. I have another installment of me versus my car, and have some stuff to talk about as far as the new Final Destination Bloodlines movie is concerned. All of that on today's episode. I'm kind of excited about it. It's 7:38 as I'm recording this. I'm a little tired, so we'll see just how unhinged this gets. As it usually is here on this podcast, where I am quite frequently out of my mind. But yeah, so how are you guys doing? I hope you guys are doing well. I'm in the middle of my month from hell right now, which I will get into. That's still ongoing as we speak, so there's some things going on that are still not exactly making me the happiest person to ever walk the planet Earth that we unfortunately live on sometimes. So yeah, Post TAP episode 16. Real quick before I get into the main things I want to talk about, I guess just some programming notes. This upcoming Saturday, be prepared for the release of the match card for the upcoming episode of TAW Action, which is either going to be on Monday or Tuesday. Probably Monday. We shall see. I'm planning on TAW Action being on Monday, and of course I will be posting the match card on Saturday, so be looking forward to that. If there are some changes or anything like that, or if it goes up on Tuesday, I will be sure to let you guys know. And also, there's going to be a few matches in between the match. There's going to be like maybe two matches in between the release of the match card and TAW Action itself. Because I never like to have a match card for something and the next video be the show. I like to space things out a teeny bit because variety is the spice of life, ladies and gentlemen. So yeah, that's all for the programming notes before we get into the main things I want to talk about. So, ladies and gentlemen, I guess I'll start this thing off with, I went and I actually got to go see Marilyn Manson in concert, which is something that I never thought that I would ever see, because I live in South Carolina. Several decades ago, I think before I was even born, he was so insanely controversial that there were numerous court sessions and meetings of Congress and whatnot where he was literally banned from playing in some states, South Carolina being one of them. A couple months ago, my boss's boss at work let me know that he was going to be doing a concert at Myrtle Beach at the House of Blues, and I was like, wait, he can play in South Carolina? I thought he was banned. Which, I mean, it's been like 2 decades, so I guess almost 3 decades. So I guess that has expired. I'm not a legal expert, or I don't speak legalese. If you speak legalese, let me down in the comments below. So I guess that makes sense that just didn't last forever. It must have been for some time period, or I don't know. But either way, so I was super excited and I immediately bought myself a ticket. Little did I know that this decision would cause a butterfly effect that would just send ripples down the timeline for the rest of 2025, I guess, as far as I'm concerned. But again, I'll get to that a little later on when I get to the everyone's favorite segment of the show. So I bought my ticket a couple months in advance, and finally the day came. It was this past Thursday. What was this past Thursday? This past Thursday was the 15th of May. From where I live to Myrtle Beach is a 2.5-hour drive, so that was not my favorite thing in the world, but I drove all the way down there. One thing I will say, I do have a few critiques, none of which have to do with Marilyn Manson or his band or anything that happened during the show. I will say, when I got there at about 5:30, because I left my house at about 2-ish or 3-ish, when I got there, there was a huge line of people, and we were all just standing around for about an hour and a half waiting for the doors to open, and the show started at about 8, and it didn't end until about 11-ish, a little bit before 11, I think. So I was standing around for a good 5 to 6 hours. My back was killing me by the end of it. I was so happy when I finally sat back down in my car. I was like, oh, yes, my spine. My poor spine. So yeah, my back was killing me. I was really feeling my my age at that point. I was like, man, this is what it feels like to be 80 years old, I guess. My back is just hurting. I need a masseuse. Where is the most nearby masseuse? I need him or her. So we got in, and first, before the show even started, they had this opening band, a band I've never even heard of called Black Satellite. They were fine. I've never heard of them before. They sounded kind of generic, if I'm being perfectly honest. But during Black Satellite, for those of you that have never been to the House of Blues in Myrtle Beach, it's basically like a giant bar. It's not like a stadium or arena or anything. Basically, like 200 to 300 people are in there to fill it to its max capacity. There's a bar like around the building, and there's a second floor. And in the middle is like just this huge open space, almost kind of like a gymnasium, I guess, kind of. Like if you cut a gymnasium in half, that's basically where the crowd stands, and then there's the stage for the performers to perform. And this is not the first time I've been to the House of Blues. In 2022, I think it was either 2022 or 2023. I'm thinking 22. Me, Andy, and my mom, as a birthday present to me, went to go see Black Veil Brides at the House of Blues. So I had been there before, just not by myself. So while Black Satellite was playing, all of a sudden I could have sworn that, because I was in the middle of the crowd, because there was a bunch of people. I was in the middle of the crowd, and all of a sudden people started flying around. Like I thought a fight broke out. It was not a fight. It was the first time I had ever seen a mosh pit. And I looked over, and like these big drunk dudes were just throwing each other around and running into each other, giving each other shoulder blocks, and just bouncing off of each other. And I was like, oh shit. So that's what a mosh pit is. I'm gonna scoot over to the opposite side of this crowd because I only weigh 130. I'm about 5.5 feet tall. I'm not the most imposing human being on earth. And these were a bunch of like 6-foot dudes who were like somewhere between 200 to 300 pounds. And, you know, I don't want to die. I don't want to die. Unfortunately for me, when I first found my spot when the show was about to start, before Black Satellite started playing, I had a pretty decent view of the stage. When I was moving to the left to get away from the mosh pit, my viewing, my angle of which I was viewing the stage became less good because every like tall I moved to the part of the crowd where all of the tall people were, so it became more difficult to see anything. But I would take that over a 300-pound dude mowing me over. So, yeah, not a big fan of mosh pits. But then finally, Black Satellite played like 5 songs and then they left. And then Marilyn Manson came out, and Manson was fantastic. His band was fantastic. It was great. But when they got it, because they played about 11, 12, 13 songs. When they got to the Beautiful People. Okay, a lot of Manson fans are very familiar with this. At a lot of concerts over the decades that Manson has done, for some reason, shit always goes sideways whenever they try to play the Beautiful People. Like, something would happen, there would be some kind of technical issue, or a fight would break out, either in the crowd or on stage. I remember during, I think it was the tour that was supporting the Golden Age of Grotesque back in 2003, John 5 was having some kind of issue, and the band would normally just roughhouse on stage to amp each other up and just to sell the intensity of the concert. Well, Manson goes over and playfully kicks John 5, but because of whatever issue John 5 was having during the Beautiful People, he just went ape shit and almost got into a fight with Marilyn Manson and slammed his guitar on the ground, and it got super awkward. And Manson was like, dude, pick up your guitar. Dude, pick up your guitar. It's a bit. Pick up your guitar. Calm down. And John 5 picked up his guitar and angrily continued playing the Beautiful People. Just stuff like that. So there's always something that goes wrong during the Beautiful People. It's a thing. So Manson always starts off by saying, how does it feel to be one of the beautiful people? And that's to let the crowd know, oh, that's the song he's doing next. And we were all getting jazzed up. We were all getting very excited because that's like his most famous song. And so they start, and then they just kind of stop, and all of them leave the stage. They exit stage left, and everyone's kind of like, huh? What? There were some people in the crowd who was like, is this part of the show? And I was thinking to myself, oh no, something went wrong, didn't it? I mean, they are playing the beautiful people, and historically, things usually go wrong when they start playing the beautiful people. And then the bassist, Tyler Bates, comes back out on stage, and he goes up to the microphone, and he's like, don't go anywhere. We're having a technical issue. We'll be right back. And I didn't laugh, but I almost laughed, because it's always the beautiful people. For some reason, this song is cursed. So then they all come back out on stage, and Marilyn Manson goes up to the mic, and he's like, let's try that again. And then they go into the beautiful people, and everything works, and the show is great, the show is fantastic, and we went back to having fun. But again, it just amuses me how they just cannot play the beautiful people without something going wrong. So yeah, the show was great. He played some of his greatest hits. He played The Beautiful People. He played Tourniquet from Antichrist Superstar, but The Beautiful People is also from Antichrist Superstar. The Dope Show from Mechanical Animals. The Nobodies. Disposable Teens from Hollywood. Mob Scene, and This Is the New Shit from the Golden Age of Grotesque. A lot of tracks from One Assassination Under God, which I appreciated. He even busted out The Long Hard Road Out of Hell, which before this year he had never played like in concert before. Because back when he made that song in, I believe, 97, it was a collaborative effort between him and a different band. I can't remember what their name is off the top of my head. But there was some kind of issue between them when after the song came out, and whatever the issue was, it might have been some kind of legal or copyright or Manson and whoever not getting along, which I'm pretty sure, because Manson was kind of notorious for not playing well with others. Whatever the issue that was going on led to them never playing The Long Hard Road Out of Hell during a concert, never playing it live, which sucked because that is such an awesome song. That's one of Manson's best songs. But for whatever reason, this year, he's like, you know what? We're going to play The Long Hard Road Out of Hell. So, I'm glad he played that. He even played Get Your Gun, which is from Portrait of an American Family, which is his first album. So, that was nice. Played a whole bunch of stuff from a whole bunch of different eras. I would be more shocked if he ever decided to pull something out of Eat Me, Drink Me, or The High End of Low, because those are the two least favorite Manson albums in his entire catalog, not just by fans and critics, but Manson himself probably. He also never really plays anything from Born Villain, or every once in a while he'll play something from The Pale Emperor, but I never hear him play anything from that, or Heaven Upside Down, which, as far as Heaven Upside Down is concerned, I'm fine with that because I'm not super crazy about that album. And he never plays anything from We Are Chaos because he never got to even promote that album when it came out in 2020, when his career got absolutely derailed. And COVID shut everything down. But yeah, but I do love that he pulls stuff out of like his more well-known albums like Portrait, Antichrist Superstar, Mechanical Animals, Hollywood, Golden Age, and One Assassination Under God, which this is the tour that's supporting that album. And speaking of new stuff that he has coming out, speaking of that, another band that I've been listening to as of late, Falling in Reverse, which the front man of that band, of course, is Ronnie Radke, another insanely controversial figure. The other day, they had a song come out called God is a Weapon, and it was a collab with Marilyn Manson, and Marilyn Manson actually gets one of the verses. That song is amazing. And the music video is absolutely spectacular. Some of the best cinematography for a song, a TV show, a movie, a video game, anything you will ever see. The cinematography in that music video is absolutely insane. And, of course, a lot of people are really upset that how dare Marilyn Manson team up with Ronnie Radke? We don't like him because he's bad. And I'm just like, shut up. There was so much, especially on Reddit, there was so much whining on Reddit about how dare Marilyn Manson do music with this evil person. Like, shut up. First off, get off Reddit. It's rotting your mind. Second of all, shut up. Just stop with the whining. So yeah, that song is fantastic, and I highly recommend go listen to God as a Weapon by Falling in Reverse and Marilyn Manson. It is an absolutely fantastic song. And you know that I will be using it in the next TAW recap. Gonna go ahead and confirm that. Gonna go ahead and confirm that shit. You know I'm definitely gonna be using that in the next TAW recap. So yeah, the concert was great. What happened after the concert was substantially less great. And this is where we have another fantastic installment of Joshua versus his car. Take it away. Such a wonderful intro. Just tells you everything that you need to know. So, on this wonderful edition of me versus my car, technically it's not even my car's fault. It's not even my car's fault. I was driving home, and of course, again, it was like almost around 11, so I knew it was going to be about 1 or 2 o'clock by the time I get home, because again, it's a 2.5 hour drive. Everything's going well. Until I get about 30 minutes from my house. I'm on a really long road, and it's a 55-mile-an-hour road, so I'm going 55. And just a couple of yards up ahead of me, I see like a family of 4 deer crossing the road. So I slow down to about 40, and I'm like, all right, I need to be more careful. I need to keep my eyes peeled because I don't want to hit a deer. Well, so much for that shit, because about a minute after the first 4 deer, their dopey cousin, I guess, was lingering behind them and just appeared right in front of me. I did not have any time to react, and I smashed right into this motherfucker. This motherbucker, I guess you could say. And let me tell you, I sent this deer flying. Just... Okay, that worked out a little too well. I cracked myself up with that. That's basically what it did. Like, I could literally, like, when it was sliding across the ground, I could literally hear it making the goofy yell, just, because it went flying a good 20 feet. And you know what? In retrospect, good. I hope that hurt. And I hope you died very slowly. Freaking Bambi. Maybe if you were the one who got shot instead of your stupid mom, maybe then my car wouldn't be in a storage facility right now. So yeah, I bounced right into a deer, and I'm like, you have got to be kidding me. Not only is this the 3rd time I've hit a deer, this is the 3rd vehicle that I've hit a deer with. My luck is great. Just great, marvelous. I wouldn't trade it for anything except someone with substantially better luck than I have. That would be great. If anyone wants to call me at 1-800 I need help to switch luck with me, that would be much appreciated. The hotline is down in the description somewhere, I'm sure. So I get out of my car to make sure that my car is, not in 34 pieces. And it looks fine. So now I get back in my car and I'm pissed. And I drive the rest of the way home at about 20 miles per hour. Even though I'm in a 55. So I'm driving 20 in a 55. And I pass like 4 more deer. And every deer I pass, I get even angrier. So have you ever seen someone angrily drive at 20 miles per hour? You'd think normally, like, the angrier you get, the faster you get. No, I was getting more and more angry, but my speed did not increase. I was angrily going slowly, which is just very amusing to me. Oh, man. So, yeah, I get home, and I go to bed, and I wake up the next day, because I want to check out my car with light outside. And my front bumper on the passenger side is dislodged a little bit. It's not too bad. And the passenger side light is also a tad dislodged. Again, not super bad, but still. And there's a tiny little dent on my hood, which I popped the hood of my car and closed it, and it seemed fine. And a little bit of the protective undercarriage on the passenger side was also a little knocked out of place. So that wasn't great. So I drove it because I had to go to the bank. I drove it, and the undercarriage, that part of the undercarriage, started getting stuck under my tire. So I ended up taking it to a body shop, and they just removed a lot of the undercarriage and put it in my trunk so it wouldn't be catching under my tire, and they screwed the bumper back into place. So I figured, all right, I should, at some point I'll have to get my undercarriage fixed, but for the time being, I'm fine. Or at least that's what I thought. So after that, I drove and I got myself something to eat. I drove back home. I drove a few other places. And again, I thought everything was relatively fine. So then I go to, again, I work at Pizza Hut. I'm a Pizza Hut delivery driver. I go to work. Again, I've driven my car a good bit, and you would never know that I hit a deer. If you drove my car, like if you drove my car right now, you would never know that anything is wrong. So I'm at work, and I go on my first delivery. I turn the car lights on. In retrospect, I probably shouldn't have done that. Because as soon as I get out of my car for my first delivery at my customer's house, immediately I smell smoke. And I'm like, oh shit, this isn't good. So I look over to my car, and there is smoke coming out of the passenger side light. So now I'm thinking, oh boy, my car is about to go. Ow, my ears hurt. And so yeah, I start freaking out because I've never had a vehicle start smoking on me. So I let my boss know what was going on. I called a tow truck because I was terrified to drive my car because, again, I didn't want it to explode with me in it. Thankfully, my customer was gracious enough to let me just stay in their yard for a little bit until I got everything I needed to get taken care of. My brother came and picked me up. I was furious. And now I'm thinking, this damn deer, this stupid deer has just ruined everything. And you know what? I have a particular soundbite for that deer in mind right now.
Go fuck yourself!
Agreed, Cody, agreed. So I have my car hauled off to a storage place so they can just keep it somewhere. And I call my insurance, and they're supposed to send a guy over there to look at my car and determine whether or not, like, he's either going to say, all right, we're going to take it to such and such so it can get repaired. I have collision on my car. So at worst, the most I'll end up paying is $500 for the deductible. And they'll pay for the rest. They'll pay for the repairs, and then I'll get my car back. Or he's going to be like, all right, this is just totaled. We're going to write you a check, and you can use that to get a new vehicle. So now that's what I've been waiting on for like the past week. So if my insurance could be a tad more snappy, I would very much appreciate it. Although I just got on a new insurance policy for myself. I got off my dad's insurance, and now I'm on my own insurance because I'm a big boy wearing my big boy diaper. So since and this was just on the 5th, I think, on May the 5th. So part of the policy is if something happens within 30 days, they need to do some kind of investigation just to make sure that I didn't do something on purpose. Like, yeah, I used my little witch powers to summon a deer at that exact moment to headbutt my car just because I wanted to take advantage of an insurance company. Yeah, totally my bad. My bad. How did you know? You caught me. My hand's in the cookie jar. Woe is me. Woe is me. I'm smacking my own wrist. There. So at some point, I'm going to get a phone call just to go over everything again, to relitigate this entire incident. And then they're going to send what's-his-face over to my car to make the determination on what they're going to do next. And at some point this decade, I will have my own vehicle once again. So I cannot wait for that. So little did I know that me deciding, oh, that artist I like, Marilyn Manson, I'm going to go to a concert of his because I never thought I'd be able to do that. Little did I know that one little decision would have such a profound effect on my sanity. I hate deer. Have I mentioned that enough yet that I hate deer? I hate deer so much. Also, it just occurred to me, like, I make a joke out of it that I'm always on this episode of Joshua versus his car. the reason I bring that up is at some point, I'm gonna have enough of these post TAPs and enough asides about me versus my car that I might as well just make a video about it. just take every single instance on these podcasts of me talking about my car problems, my never-ending car problems, and just compile them into one like hour-long video of just for you people to understand that me getting my driver's license was the worst mistake I've ever made. Thanks, Mom and Dad. I never wanted to drive, and this is why. I knew it would cause problems. Most people get their driver's license when they're like 16. I didn't get mine until I was 18 because my parents forced me to. So I blame them. I blame them for all of these shenanigans and tomfoolery. I hate cars. And you know what? If it turns out they just total my car and they write me a check so I can go get a different vehicle, I might just get a big truck. So in the future, when I inevitably hit another deer, the chances of it screwing up my car will be lessened, I guess. So I guess it would be better to have a big truck. I don't know. I hate deer. In case I haven't made that clear enough. Speaking of clear, wow, what a transition that turned out to be. Over the past week, I have watched every single Final Destination movie leading up to Final Destination Bloodlines, which came out last week, I believe. It is very new. It is the 6th Final Destination movie in this series. So to prepare, because me and Andy and some of her friends went to go see it this past Monday, and we had a great time, and I'll talk about the movie in a minute. To catch myself up, I decided to watch every single Final Destination movie in preparation. I had never seen them before. I knew of them, and I've seen like death montages on YouTube, and I've heard people talk about them. They always came off to me the same way they just kind of felt like just more slasher films. Even though I do have Freddy Krueger, Jason Voorhees, Michael Myers, and the like on my YouTube channel, I'm not that big a fan of slasher movies. I've never really gotten into them. They're all kind of samey to me. And I kind of felt like Final Destination was in that same category. And to a degree, it kind of is. But I actually really enjoyed these movies. I really enjoyed them. Of course, I started with the first one. I watched all of them in chronological order and then went to go see Bloodlines. So now I'm going to basically give a long franchise review. Hopefully not too long. I'm just going to give my thoughts on each film. Which one was my favorite. Which ones I liked, didn't like. My thoughts on the entire series. What have you. So, the first one I watched, I believe that one came out in 2000. It really sets the tone for the entire franchise and like builds the world of... Because one thing that I did not expect about this franchise, one thing that kind of is one of the reasons why I'm not super crazy about like Friday the 13th or Nightmare on Elm Street or Scream, is a lot of those are kind of just like episodic, and one movie really doesn't have much to do with the next one. And, Final Destination kind of subverts that a little bit, just enough to where it wasn't that much of a problem for me. But I did like the first one. I did really like the first one. And honestly, I liked the first two, mostly because, kind of like with the Twilight movies, I think it's one of those concepts or franchises that works best with a low budget. Because I'm not going to lie, I kind of liked the first Twilight movie. When they went to New Moon and every book after that, making it into a movie, they had a higher budget, and that kind of detracted from the movie. So the low budget, the more subdued tone with the first Twilight movie works for it. Same thing with Final Destination. The more they upped the budget, the less interesting it became, in my opinion. But I liked the first one a lot. The deaths, because again, they didn't have that big a budget, or it didn't look like it. And again, it was in 2000. There was only so much they could do. They were very creative in like that was the one where they really focused on the whole death is going to move this one little object into this one specific position, and that's going to create a domino chain of whoopsie daisies that'll end in someone dying. I really liked how meticulous it was. And I also like that the antagonist is death itself. It's not like something you can fight and defeat. It's something you might be able to outmaneuver for a time, but you can't defeat it because it's literally death itself. It's not some boogeyman. It's not some central figure that you have to defeat. It's the inevitability of your own mortality that you're going up against. And I really like that. I did think that it was kind of funny that the dude from American Pie was in the first Final Destination movie. I've never seen the American Pie movies, but I know of them, and I know that he's in a lot of them. So I thought that was funny. Of course, the main girl is Clear Rivers. She's not the main character of 1 or 2, but she's in 1 and 2. But I really liked her because I think she's in Heroes as well. So she's one of the more prolific people in the movies. I've never seen the other people that were in the movie. But I really liked the more subdued, like, it was the most realistic, I guess, of the movies, if as close as the Final Destination movies can come to being realistic. And it really laid out the whole concept very well. It didn't get too ridiculous. Although I will say there was one thing that kind of bothered me about Final Destination 1. And there was somewhat, I wouldn't say a continuity error, but more just something just started happening that had no setup whatsoever. It was just all of a sudden, this is happening now. The main dude, whose name I believe is Alex, the one who gets the vision at the beginning of the movie that causes the whole movie to happen, and the main girl, Clear Rivers, which, right there, like, why would you name a girl? Why would you name your daughter Clear? The whole movie, I thought her name was Claire. But no, her name is Clear. I guess they should have been more clear with her name. Ha-ha! It was funny. Where's Gary? I appreciate it, Gary. But my gripe is Alex and Clear, it's established and it's said, like she says in the movie, like, we've been in, like, the same age group. We've been in classes together, but we've never talked. And now all of a sudden we're talking to each other. Like, it's confirmed that they're acquaintances. But they're not friends. They're not dating. And all of a sudden, during the last act of the movie, all of a sudden, she just starts calling him baby. And I'm like, huh? You just call him baby? But, huh? There was no indication whatsoever that they had any romantic interest in each other. They go from being acquaintances to all of a sudden she's calling him baby and they're a thing now. And I'm like, did this happen off screen? There was no scene where they decided, hey, you're cute. No, you're cute. No, you hang up first. No, you die first. And now we're together. There was no scene like that. It just kind of came out of nowhere. And then I figured out why, because I found out there was an alternate ending to the movie. And in the alternate ending, the original cut of the movie, which they changed because it didn't test well with the test audiences before the movie came out in theaters back in 2000, I believe. In the original cut of the movie, there is that scene where they decide to get together, and that leads to, like, because they're like, the idea is in order to defeat death, you have to create new life. So they're like, oh, we have an idea. Let's make a baby. And they make a baby, and they have sex. She gets pregnant, but Alex sacrifices himself to save her, so he's dead, and then she gives birth to a baby, names him Alex, and this has broken death's curse on them. And the ending of the movie is she has the baby Alex in a stroller, and they go up to Alex's grave, and it's like, well, we'll all die eventually, I guess, and it's a very somber ending. And honestly, I like that more than the ending we got. Because the ending that we got, the one when they changed it, they just went to what became the formula of, oh, they think they got away from death, but death is just reorganizes its strategy, and the douchey jock guy gets hit with a sign, and it cuts to black, and it's like, ooh, spooky. It was the much more commercial-friendly ending, I guess. The much more, ooh, spook, the tongue-in-cheek kind of winking at the audience kind of deal, which was fine. But I very much like the ending that we got. The ending that almost was more than the one we got. Because in the ending that almost was, them becoming a thing, them becoming an item, is established, it happens, and it makes sense. But in the movie we got, they still become a thing, it's just the whole context for them becoming a thing is just not in the movie. It's just their acquaintances, they're dating now. Oh, when was this established? Oh, in the alternate cut of the movie that didn't happen. Okay, cool, great. There's this thing called editing. You can have them like kiss or something, or I don't know, but it just felt like that one little piece of the movie was just missing, and it was just weird. It was just weird. They went from acquaintances to all of a sudden she's calling him baby every 10 seconds, and I'm like, okay, that's weird. But other than that, I really liked Final Destination 1. It was a good tone setter for the franchise. Final Destination 2, though, is my favorite Final Destination movie. I thought, well, before Bloodlines, because at the time, before Bloodlines came out, I do think Bloodlines, after seeing Bloodlines, is the best of the 6 movies. But before I saw Bloodlines, Final Destination 2 was my favorite, because I just think it was the most well done. It added to the lore of this world without being ridiculous or feeling overly gimmicky. And in a second movie, you want to build on what you did in the first one, and Final Destination 2 does that. Also, Final Destination 2 has AJ Cook in it. For those of you that don't know, she is Jennifer Jarreau, or JJ, in Criminal Minds, which is one of my favorite TV shows. So when I first saw her, of course she's playing a girl named Kimberly in Final Destination 2, and the whole time I'm like, I know I've seen this person before. And then it dawned on me who it was, and the only reason why it took me so long to recognize her is because in Criminal Minds, she's always been a blonde. In this movie, she's a brunette. So that kind of threw me off a little bit, and she's way younger. So I was like, who is that? I know. Oh my god, it's JJ from Criminal Minds. So that was cool. But I also liked that Clear was in the movie to help with the exposition to explain what's going on. Instead of having this completely unrelated group of people figuring out the exact same thing that's been happening that happened in the first movie, because I felt like that would have been way repetitive, which is what the movie started doing after the second movie. So that was a good way to do away with some unnecessary exposition, or at least have the exposition make sense coming from someone who's actually experienced what's going on. And the deaths were way cooler. Like the log truck car pileup is the best scene in the entire franchise. It is absolutely fantastic. Although the tower scene in Final Destination Bloodlines that just came out, they're neck and neck. They're like basically tied for best scene in the entire franchise. But the whole log truck pile, especially that one log going through the cop dude's face, oh my god. That literally scarred a generation of people. Like most people get nervous driving behind a log truck because of this movie. So that is definitely some power over the audience right there that is very impressive. And like the ways to beat death that got introduced in this movie, like, oh, in order to beat death, you have to die but get resuscitated. And then all this, like, death's shadow will move past you. I like that, and that kind of stuff made sense. See, I really, really liked Final Destination 2, and of the original 5 movies, that is the best one in my opinion. Then Final Destination 3, it had the girl that was, what's her name? Ramona from Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. This was Andy's favorite, which the roller coaster thing at the beginning of the movie was really good. I didn't quite like it as much as the car pileup in the second one, or the airplane in the first one. But I will say 3 was good. But 3 is when the whole concept started to get a little repetitive. Because this is the movie where, okay, now we have a completely unrelated group of people that are figuring out the same thing we've already seen twice. And no one is connected to the previous 2 movies. Which I can see why they didn't want to bring Kimberly into 3. Because that would be the exact same thing they did with Clear Rivers from 1 to 2. So they didn't want to repeat that. But instead they just repeated the entire concept. And this is when they started adding bells and whistles that actually started getting annoying. Because Kimberly, or AJ Cooks, or AJ Cook, singular. I don't know, is it AJ Cook or AJ Cooks? Which one? Is it singular or is it plural? AJ Cook. Not SJ. AJ Cook. Okay, it's AJ Cook singular. So, AJ Cook singular had a few visions and, like, was seeing, like, more than what Alex saw in the first movie. But she just had, like, a couple more visions. And that was fine. That's a way to add stuff. Like, it felt like a natural progression. Oh, she's having a couple more visions instead of just the one at the beginning of the movie. And she was trying to figure out what it all meant. And that's how she figured out how to beat death. And all that was fine. In 3, you have the one vision, but now they have this gimmick where the main girl has a camera. And she took a bunch of pictures before she had her vision. And all the pictures she took has some kind of vague hint that alludes to how everyone's going to die. And so a lot of the movie revolves around trying to decode these pictures that she took to figure out how people are going to die to save them. And that's fine, but this was the point where I was like, okay, that's a tad gimmicky. They were like, we can't just do it again for our third time and just have that be that. We need to throw something in there to change up the formula a little bit. We already messed with the formula a teeny bit in the second movie, but now we need to just throw something else in there to make it even more, have some more pizzazz. And I think you added a little too much pizzazz here. It's fine, but it was so obviously just them trying to not be the previous 2 movies over again, which unfortunately made it just feel that much more like, oh, we're just doing it again, a third time now. Except with this magic camera that predicts death, because, Which, that part of the movie is honestly the one thing I didn't like about it, and it was just, we're doing this again for a third time. It wasn't super creative. Some of the deaths were very creative. Like the tanning bed scene, where the two preppy girls get cooked alive. That's one of the most iconic death scenes in the entire franchise. And the train accident at the end was also really cool. Like, all of the deaths are really cool. Up to this point. It's just, at this point, I was like, this one's, like, I don't hate Final Destination 3, but it's, of the 3 so far, it's definitely, in my opinion, the weakest. It's still fine. Like, it didn't offend me or anything. It didn't annoy me. Other than, oh, we have a spooky camera now. That was where I was like, okay, now you're getting a little too cute. Little did I know that it would immediately get worse with 4. And one thing about, the Final Destination. The thing about Final Destination 4 and Final Destination 5 is these came out, 4 and 5 came out around 2008, but between 2008 and 2011, 12-ish. This is right when Hollywood was like, you know what? Every movie should be in 3D. Everything we make ever should be in 3D. They had such an insufferable boner about making everything 3D during this time period, and these movies were no exception, because both 4 and 5 especially 4, had just such an obnoxious overuse of 3D. Like, we get it. Like, look, I'm watching this in 2025 now. There are people who have no idea what the 3D glasses even were, or what they were for, or that people actually like, wait, you put on glasses and things in the movie would look like they're flying at you? There are Zoomers out there, and now Gen Alpha, who have no idea what the hell anyone's talking about. And for once, I'm like, you know what? You're not missing out on it. A lot of times when Gen Z and Gen Alpha's like, what that? Huh? What that? I'm kind of like, shut up, child. Go floss to your TikToks, you heathen. But now this is one of those instances where I'm like, you know what? You're better off not knowing. It's one thing that Gen X and early millennials really just... Actually, no one really liked it. It was Hollywood that liked it. The audience was kind of like, okay, this kind of sucks. And these 2 movies were just so painful about it, especially 4. So, not only did you have god-awful 3D and god-awful special effects, the special effects in 4 are atrocious. Like, The CGI is so bad. But up to this point, the acting in the first 3 movies was fine to good. 4 is when we started getting to the porn star level acting. In Final Destination 4, the acting was pretty bad. If you can tell, 4 is my least favorite Final Destination movie. It was the most detached from the rest of the franchise. It had the worst special effects, the worst acting, the worst 3D, post-conversion 3D that was just painful to look at. And on top of that, it did what bothered me in 3, just even more obnoxious and even lazier. Because at least in 3, she had a camera that would help her predict what was going to happen. In this movie, in 4, the main dude just had vision after vision after he would constantly have a never-ending cavalcade of visions. And I'm just like, okay, like, at least they were creative enough to have it, like, the deaths be predicted via camera pictures, like, oh, that makes sense now. Oh, the dude that got killed by the car's fan hitting the back of his head. Oh, he was standing in front of a fan, so it makes sense. No, in this dude's visions, you literally just get snippets of how someone's gonna die, and then he figures it out after the fact. It's way lazier. You literally feel the studio and the director just going, just fuck it, just give him more visions. Like, just up the amount of visions. And then it got to the point where, like, instead of, like, where you have the main premonition at the beginning of the movie, where he sees what's going to happen and then he prevents it. Then he has another scene where a whole bunch of people die, but then it's, oh, it was a vision, now I'm going to prevent it again. It's like we saw the beginning of the movie again. It was so repetitive. Like, literally the only thing I liked about Final Destination 4 is the opening credits, where they basically went through a lot of the deaths in the previous 3 Final Destination movies, but it was entirely through X-rays, and it had rock in the background. That was cool, and I liked the ending of 4. The ending of 4 was cool. And also 4 had the lamest deaths. I think 4 was the one where it had, no, it might have been 5, where the woman had, was it 4 or 5, where the lawnmower ran over the rock and it went through the girl's eye? That death was kind of just, okay. Might as well just pull out a gun and shoot her in the face. You'd have the same result. But, yeah, I did not like 4 at all. 4 was very... And also, the one thing that made me go, whoa, was the racist dude in 4. You have this racist ginger dude just casually dropping the N-word hard R, and I'm just like, okay, we're going here now in this movie, apparently. And I'm not against using, like, slurs in a movie if you're doing it for a reason or a purpose. But this movie? Really? We're leaning into the racism angle in Final Destination 4? Yeah, that was kind of silly. I was kind of like, really, movie? And the dude dies because he gets drunk and tries to, like, set a cross on fire in front of a black dude's house. I'm like, huh? But anyway, moving on to Final Destination 5. 5 surprised me. We still had a little bit of the porn star level acting in 5, but it was way better than 4. It was, I honestly, if I were to rank the Final Destination movies, it would be 6 Bloodlines, then 2, then 1, then 5, and then 3, and then 4. So I liked 5 a lot more than I thought I would, because at this point, we started off good with 1. Despite the one issue I had with 1, with the, oh, now we're dating. And I'm like, oh, when was this established? Like, we started off good with 1, then we got even better with 2, then we got less good with 3, then we got way, way, way less good with 4, and then I was like, oh, is 5 going to be really bad? Is 5 going to be even worse than 4? No, things actually turned around in a major way with 5. Still have the obnoxious-ass 3D, but that's fine, honestly. And then we go back to adding another thing that you can do in this. We have another idea introduced into this movie that actually makes sense, and it's the kind of adding to it that doesn't feel like an unnecessary gimmick. Because it actually added some drama to the movie that I really appreciated. The idea that if you kill someone that isn't already on death's list, you basically obtain the years that they have left. That I thought was a really cool gimmick. Like, it was one of those it was definitely a gimmick. This whole thing is a gimmick. But it was one that I was like, okay, that feels like a natural progression. This is what they should have done in 3. This is what they should have done in 3. So at least they're doing it now in 5. And I actually kind of dug the cast, even though the acting was not great. And some of the deaths, like the bridge collapse. First off, as soon as I saw a bridge in a movie like this, I was like, oh yeah, that bridge is gonna die. The poor Golden Gate Bridge just cannot survive any movie. It has been destroyed so many times. It is so funny to me. So yeah, I really enjoyed 5, and the added gimmick of, oh yeah, if you kill someone, then you can basically take the rest of their life, and you'll bypass death's list that way. So I really like that, and that's 5 is the one where it had the laser eye surgery bit, where that is another kind of like with the car pileup in 2. There are a lot of people that are afraid of laser eye surgery because of this movie. Because of this movie, people are like, yeah, I don't want to ever have eye surgery because I don't want to die and fall out of a building and have my eyeball pop out of my head. So yeah, that was just ugh. And I like that one of the people that died was dating another one of the main characters in the movie, the guy that kind of looked like Tom Cruise. He looked like Timu Tom Cruise. And he basically turned into somewhat of a villain by the end because he's pissed off at the dude who's having the visions because his girlfriend wasn't supposed to die, and he's like, why does she deserve to live? So he's trying to kill her. So because he's mad at the main dude and his girlfriend because he's like, man, it's not fair that my girlfriend's dead. Why do you get to have a girlfriend? My girlfriend's dead. Why can't your girlfriend be dead? Huh? Explain that to me. Why does my girlfriend have to be dead? And why can't your girlfriend be? Why can't you be dead? So that was actually a very believable motivation for this dude's heel turn in the movie, and it worked. And the ending of 5 was my favorite ending, and it was such a well done twist because the ending of 5 is revealed to be the beginning of 1. Final Destination 5 ends with what happens on the plane after Alex gets kicked off in the first movie. It's a full circle kind of thing, and if you really paid attention, there are subtle little Easter eggs and clues that make it's not just something that just is completely out of left field, doesn't make any sense whatsoever. They actually very cleverly put clues here and there as to what's going to happen. And if you were paying attention, you would have noticed it because during the movie, the main dude is all broken up about, I don't want to leave my girlfriend because I accepted this internship or this job in Paris, which in Final Destination 1, the plane that the students and Alex got on and Clear got on was headed to Paris. Flight 180 was on its way to Paris before it exploded. So in Final Destination 5, they're like, yeah, I'm supposed to go to Paris, hint, hint, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, but I don't want to leave my girlfriend. And also, even though this movie is the 5th one, if you pay attention, if you pay attention to the phones and the technology, it is not like 2011 technology. I remember someone pulled out a phone that was so not of that era. The phones that people used, you would see people using in the early 2000s. So just subtle stuff like that, where if you go back and watch, you're like, oh, they said they're going they did get on flight 180 because they were talking about going to Paris the whole movie, and technology is weirdly not it doesn't feel like the feel of the setting feels like the year 2000, which was the setting of Final Destination 1. So they actually set that up very cleverly and in a very well done way. I loved the ending of Final Destination 5 tying in directly to Final Destination 1. I love that. That was such a genius thing to do. In all honesty, I kind of wish that it was just Final Destination 1, 2, and then 5. Because then you'd have a solid trilogy right there. Whereas 3's alright, but it's just kind of there, and 4 just sucks. But then we have Final Destination 6, which in my opinion is the best of the Final Destination movies. Because now, like, it has a budget, but we're so, like, far, like, it's been 14 years since the last one. Like, even though, like, regardless of the budget, like, modern technology, it's just easier to make things look up to date and real. Like, none of the CGI in Final Destination 6 Bloodlines bothered me at all. And it was another case of, hey, here's a gimmick for this movie that wouldn't feel out of place and just randomly inserted. Because the idea behind Bloodlines is, what if someone, like, decades ago survived a horrific event because of a premonition, and then they went on to live and have children? Would their children have to deal with death because their grandma subverted death's plan, and now they're all in trouble? This entire bloodline of people is just in trouble, and now they're going to get picked off one by one in order of who is oldest. Whoever came up with that idea is a genius. That is such a smart way to continue this franchise. And it's in a way that doesn't add anything to the whole premonition thing. It doesn't add an unnecessary gimmick. Like, oh, let's just have him have 50 bajillion visions. Or here's a magic camera. No, it's a necessary, logical inclusion to the franchise. And it worked. It very much worked. And I'm not going to spoil a whole lot. Go watch the movie. Final Destination 6 Bloodlines is still in theaters. Go watch honestly, watch 1, 2, 5, and Bloodlines. And there you have a solid quadrilogy right there. If you want to watch 3, go ahead. Like 3's not bad. It's just kind of there. If you need something to laugh at, watch 4. 4 is funny bad. It's not like The Room where it's like it's so bad it's funny. It's just kind of, what the hell is happening here? This is so goofy. This is so dumb. But overall, I really like the Final Destination movies. And yes, no, it is not lost on me that I hit a deer and had so many car problems and my car almost catching on fire while I'm in the middle of a Final Destination marathon. That absolutely did occur to me when I thought my car was going to explode. That absolutely did occur to me. So there's that little extra thing to tie this entire podcast together in a nice, neat little bow. And with that nice, neat little bow being tied, I'm going to let you go now. I'm going to get the hell out of here because I got some more stuff I want to record tonight before I go to bed. And I have some things that I need to save my voice for. So thank you guys so much for listening to the 16th episode of Post TAP. What are your thoughts on the Final Destination movies? Let me know what you think in the comments. Rank them as far as your favorite to least favorite. Again, thank you guys so much for listening. Like, comment, subscribe, and all that fun stuff, and I'll see you guys next time. Good night, everybody.